Hello and welcome to Short Story Scene. I'm your host, the storyteller, and here we have a tale for you called Inferno by Dante Alighieri. Canto 34. Vexilla regis prodent inferni. Toward us therefore look in the front of thee, my master said, if thou discernest him. As when we're bathed a heavy fog, or when our hemisphere is darkening into the night, appears far off the mill and wind is turning. Methought that such a building then I saw, and for the wind I drew myself behind my guide, because there was no other shelter. Now was I with fear in verse I put it, and where the shades were wholly covered up, and gloomily threw the like unto straws in glass. Some prone are living, and others stand erect, with the head and one with the soles, another bow-like and face to feet inverts. When in advance so far we had proceeded, that it my master pleased to show me the creature that once had the beauteous semblance. He from before me moved and made me stop, saying, Behold this, and behold the place, where thou with fortitude must arm thyself. How frozen I became with the powerless then, ask it to reader, for I write it not, because all language would be insufficient. I did not die, and I alive remain not. Think of thyself now that hast thou aught to wit what I became, being both deprived. The emperor of the kingdom delirious in his mid-breast forth issued from the ice, and better with the giant I compare. Then do the giants with the arms of his. Consider now how the great must be holy, which unto such a part conforms itself, where he has fair once, and he now is foul, and lifted up his brow against his maker, may proceed from him all tribulation. Oh, what a marvel it appeared to me, that I beheld three faces on his head. The one in front and the vermilion was. Two were the others, and were joined with this above the middle part of either shoulder, and they were joined together at the crust. And at the right hand one seemed twixt white and yellow, and left was such looked upon those who came from where the Nile falls valleyward. Underneath each came forth two mighty wings, such befitting were so great a bird, sails of the sea, I never saw so large. No feathers had they, but as of a bat. Their fashion was he was waving them, so that three winds proceeded forth their form. Thereby Coctius and wholly was congealed. With 6 eyes did he weep, and down 3 chins trickled the teardrops and the blood derival. And every mouth he with his teeth was crunching, as sinner in the manner of a brake, so that he 3 of them tormented thus. To him in front of the biting was as naught, and unto the clawing, for sometimes the spine utterly stripped of all the skin remained. That soul of them which was the greatest pain, the master said, is Judas Iscariot, and his head inside. He plies his legs without. And of the 2 other who head downward are, the one who hangs from the black gel is Brutus. See how he writhes himself and speaks no word. And the other who is so stalwart seems as Cassius. But night is reascending, and 'tis time that we depart, for we have seen the whole. And it seemed him good I clasped him around the neck, then he the venture seized the time and place, and when the wings were open wide apart, he laid fast hold upon the shaggy sides. From fell to fell descended downward then, between the thick hairs and the frozen crust. When we were come to where the thigh revolves, exactly on the thickness of the haunch, the guide with labor and with hard-drawn breath turned round his head where he had his legs, and grappled to the hair as one who mounts, so that hell I thought we were returning. Keep fast thy hold, for by thy stairs as these, the master said, panting as one fatigued, must we perface depart from such much evil. And though the opening of the rock he issued, and down upon the margins seated me, and towards me he outstretched his weary steep. I lifted up mine eyes, and thought to see Lucifer in the same way I had left him, and beheld him upward hold his legs. And if them became disquieted, he stole people think who did not see what the point is beyond which I had passed. Rise up, the master said, upon thy feet, and way is long and difficult the road. And now the sun to the middle thence returns. It was not any palace corridor there where we were, but a dungeon natural, with floor uneven and uneasy of light. Ere from the abyss I tear myself away, my master, said I when I had arisen. To draw me from the error, speak a little. Where is the ice, and how is the one fixed? Thus upside down, and how is such short time? Forever the morn has the sun made its transit. And he to me, thou still imaginest that thou art beyond the center, where I grasp the hair of the fell worm who mines the world. That side thou wast in so long as I descended, when around I turned me. Thou didst pass the point to which things heavy draw from every side, and now beneath the hemisphere art come, the opposite of which overhangs the vast dry land, and ever whose cope was put to death. The man who without sin was born and lived. Thou hast thy feet upon the little sphere, which makes the other face of the Judicea. And here is the morn when it is evening there. And he who with his hair a stairway made us, still fixed remaineth as he was before. Upon this side he fell down out of heaven, and all the land and hilum and here emerged, for fear of him made of the sea of a veil, and came to our hemisphere the peradventure, and to flee from him. What on this side appears, left the place vacant here, and back recoiled, a place where is below, from Beelzebub, as far as receding as the tomb extends, which not by sight is known, but by the sound of the smallest rivulet, and there descendeth through the chasm within the stone, which is his na, and course the winds about the slightly falls. The guide and I into the hidden road now entered, and returned to the bright world without care of having any rest. We mounted up, he first and I second, till I beheld through the round aperture, and some of the beauteous things that heaven doth bear. Thence we came forth and beheld the stars. And that concludes our tale of Dante Alighieri, Canto 34. If you like this content and would like to support it, please head on over to Patreon. That is www.patreon.com/shortstoryscene. And thank you, Drag, for being a patron. And thank you all for listening. And see you next episode. Bye.